All right, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis and I am going to sit down, do my makeup, and just do a little chit chat, get ready with me. I have probably like 15 minutes to really get ready before I have to be out of the house. So I'm gonna try to make this super quick. But what I wanted to talk about was why I am leaving the big city of Chicago. And just for those who don't know, I am 28 and I moved to Chicago right after I graduated. Also, side note, I apply all of my makeup with my hands. So for those who, I don't know, think it's weird or gross, it works for me. So I moved to Chicago right after I graduated school, and I actually didn't even have a full-time job. I just had an internship. And I moved there for the summer. It was an internship at a really big museum. I was really into art, and I still am. And when I got to Chicago, I loved it. You know, I always dreamed of living in a big city on my own, and I was a little bit intimidated by New York. And post undergrad, I just wasn't prepared, and I didn't feel like I just felt like New York was a little bit too intense and very, very expensive, and I just didn't want to be with 10 roommates, like struggling in New York, trying to make it. So I felt like Chicago was a good medium. It was city, but wasn't as like cutthroat as New York. So after my internship, I worked a few part-time jobs, just like wherever I could find, because I knew that I wanted to stay in the city. I wanted to live the Carrie Bradshaw lifestyle, if you will. And I really was interested in marketing. I studied communications. When I do my makeup and talk, it's actually a lot more difficult than it looks. So, then after working a few part-time gigs, a position at the museum that I interned at opened up, and I was like, yes, this is my chance. So I applied, I got the job, and I've been in Chicago for about going on 6 years. This was also like pandemic, so there was this like vibrancy in the city. There was a lot of young professionals, a lot of people from Midwestern schools that were moving to the city and starting a life, and everyone was, young and figuring it out, and it just felt like a really good, synergy. Just felt very intentional and on purpose. I hope I'm making sense. So it was a vibe. I loved it, and I made friends through work, which I'm so grateful for, because even the friends that I have today, most of them come through work. So I started to really just lay down a little bit more roots. I started to teach yoga and meet my friends' friends, and really just tried to like establish a life there. But I will say, it was not easy. Like Chicago, not only are the winters brutal, but it's a city. So, you know, it's just city life. It's hustle and bustle, not as much as New York. But, you know, everyone has goals that they're trying to reach. Everybody is trying to get somewhere, meet someone. So I really, really love that aspect of the city. They still do have a really cool arts and culture scene. So I went to a lot of art shows, met a lot of artists and gallery owners, went to a lot of like parties. I just met really cool people, saw a lot of cool shows. So it was such incredible exposure. And then when the pandemic happened, I wanted to switch careers, and I wanted to transition out of museums specifically. So I started applying, and I started working at an ad agency shortly after. And just to speed through things, then I started working at a PR agency a little bit after that. So anyways, I worked a bunch of different jobs in public relations and marketing, and now I'm at a place where I'm not as attracted to the hustle and bustle like I once was. I'm really leaning into the soft life, specifically after reading this book called Rest is Resistance. It really opened my eyes to the fast pace and often unrealistic expectations of productivity and achievement in capitalism, and how we all internalize that and feel lazy, not good enough for resting, for just like being average, quote unquote average, being regular. And now that I'm at a place like in my career, I still work in communications now, where I feel really confident in my skills. I just don't feel the need to like climb any sort of ladder or just like get anywhere, if that makes sense. Like, I have aspirations and goals for my career, but they're just not so tied to my one job. They're more so like life aspirations, hobbies, and just like overall aspirations that I've always had as a child. And so as I've gotten older, the hustle and bustle, the Sex in the City, the girl boss kind of era is exhausting, and I'm over it. So I decided this year that I'm going to move back down south to my hometown, where I'm originally from. And to be honest, I couldn't be more excited. One, because of how warm it is down here, and I look forward to not like suffering in the winter with seasonal depression and just the hibernation that occurs in a city like Chicago that's just insanely cold. I want to be closer to family. I want to just relax, be a little less independent actually, and really just lean into the family and friends that I have back home. And I used to think like going back home was for losers. My ego was like, oh my God, go back home. Like, that's so lame. And to be honest, the truth is that's not true. I think going back home, even if it's for a temporary period of time, you know, depending on your situation, of course, and your relationship with home and family, but sometimes just taking a little time out, even if it's like with a friend's house or a distant relative, is so important. And it just feels very therapeutic to be slowing down in this way. It feels like the timing is right. And so I love this blush. This is the Glossier Cloud Paint blush in Beam. And it's just so pretty, and it's perfect for like spring and summer. It feels right. So if you're contemplating like going back home, taking a time out, do it. We are not meant to be productive little robots 24/7. We need to rest. We need to take a time out. We need to like collect ourselves occasionally and just take a pause. I mean, everything that's going on in this world is quite frankly like just really overwhelming. And so it does make me sad when people feel like I once did, guilty for resting, for just like taking a time out. Let me grab my lipstick. So that's just, I just wanted to share like where I'm at and why it's important to really go with the rhythm of like your own body and your own life and not worry about, you know, being quote unquote behind, because there's just no such thing. Everyone's timing is their own. So even someone like me who had a really big ego and was like, I'm never moving back home. Here I am moving back home. I think it's the right thing to do for me. It's a time in my life where I want to start to slow down. And I think there's a lot of pressure about being in your 20s or your late 20s, and feeling like your youth is running out. I'm, you know, single. There's a lot of like societal expectations of like what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm just saying, no, I want to live it on my time and on my terms. I can't talk while I do my lip liner, so brief pause. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in medium, and it goes with the Pillow Talk lipstick, which I love. Here it is. It's just like the most gorgeous mauve color. And I only do a little bit, because a little really goes a long way. See? All right, that is my makeup. I've got some blushes, some blemishes, but I just wanted to keep it really like simple and clean. I noticed I literally barely talked about any of the products, but that's okay. You know, this is just more of a get to know me kind of video. So thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to always go at your own pace. Don't worry about being behind. You are not behind. I love you, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.